Kelvin Davis.
To the Minister of Education, does she stand by all of her answers to oral question number 8 yesterday?
The Honourable Anne Tolley.
Mr Speaker, yes.
Kelvin Davis.
Supplementary to the Minister, what does the Minister make of the fact that 533 or over a quarter of 1,922 analysed school charters are non-compliant?
The Honourable Anne Tolley.
Mr Speaker, well, the Ministry is assessing those charters on a variety of criteria and working with schools to develop their charters so they are compliant.
Moroney.
Are there schools who have refused to submit their charters by the July 1 deadline, as well as the 533 whose charters are non-compliant? If so, how many?
The Honourable Anne Tolley.
Well, I wouldn't have any way of knowing whether a school has refused to do that. It's asking for an opinion that I don't have access to the information about. But what I can say to that member is that the so-called rebel schools who submitted their charters of around about 437, of those, 338 have been analysed, and almost half of those did contain national standards targets.
Moroney.
Does she still intend to take control of schools away from parents by putting in a statutory manager if they do not comply with her national standards?
The Honourable Anne Tolley.
No, we are working with schools that may be breaking the law in a variety of ways, helping them to understand that they are in fact breaking the law and making sure that they have every assistance to comply with that law.
Moroney.
Does she think this standoff she has created between her and 533 school communities is beneficial to the education of New Zealand children?
The Honourable Anne Tolley.
Mr Speaker, the member's assertion is incorrect because, as I've said, the criteria that the Ministry are using to assess those charters as being compliant are much wider than just whether they have targets against national standards. But what I can say is that, that there are over 2,000 primary schools and the majority of those are implementing the standards. And in fact, I was at a school this morning who said to me, already we can see that using those national standards targets, we are seeing a lift in the achievement of our students. And that's what this government is all about. We're about getting results for kids, not about creating standoffs with unions.
Hey. Order. I'm just considering a matter here that is quite important. I beg the House's indulgence. I apologise to the House for that distraction. What had happened is an urgent question had been lodged with me, and I have to decide whether or not the facts of the matter as before us justify the urgent question. It's my ruling that on this occasion it doesn't, because the Minister has indicated to the House that nothing's going to happen before there's the chance to ask further questions. And therefore an urgent question is not appropriate today. Had that not happened, I think the matter would have justified an urgent question. So that brings to a point of order the Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Point of order, Mr Speaker. Does that mean that we have an assurance in the House that the deportation order to take effect on Saturday won't?
Order. The reason why that point is relevant, that were that not to be the case, then I'll allow the urgent question. So my understanding was the Minister had indicated that would not necessarily be happening. Now, if that's not the case, then I believe the question should be allowed. So perhaps to clarify the matter, I should allow the urgent question. And I perhaps made a wrong assumption. So I will hand the question over for the urgent question to be asked. Point of order, the Honourable Chris Finlayson.
Ample opportunities for the member to ask supplementaries. If his supplementaries were inept, well, that's it.
Order. No, there's no need to... Now, the acting Leader of the House should not use that kind of language. It's not becoming. Order. It's my decision whether or not an urgent question is appropriate. Now, if in fact there's no chance to ask further questions, if things were going to happen before there's the opportunity, and there's no opportunity to ask further questions today without an urgent question being accepted. And therefore, those would be grounds for the Speaker to accept, in my view, an urgent question. And went on my initial ruling till the matter was drawn to my attention by the person who had lodged the question, my initial understanding was that nothing would happen before the further questions could be asked in this House. That would appear not to be the case, and therefore I believe, when a matter of public interest, that if an action is to be taken before there's the opportunity for a question to be asked, that those are grounds for an urgent question, and that's why I'm allowing the question. Point of order, the Honourable David Carter.
Mr. Speaker, I just refer you to Standing Orders 3791, which says the member must also give a copy of the question to the minister involved, and I just want to clarify whether that's occurred.
Well, order. No order. I'll hear the Honourable David Carter.
Mr. Speaker, urgent questions are something that occurs on a very infrequent basis in this House for urgent matters. To allow this to proceed is frankly making a shambles of the process.
Order. No order. I will not hear any more on this. The House will come to order straight away. Serious matters of public interest are never a shambles in this place. Never. Serious matters of public interest for which ministers are responsible should be treated seriously, and this is the place where ministers are held to account. Now, what I asked the member for is, again, I didn't hear clearly the standing order he was referring to. 3791. And I'm dealing with the matter. I will not hear further point of order while I'm dealing with the matter. And there is no question the member is right. And I think under that basis I cannot allow the question because it's not in order to... No. I think the dilemma we have is that the question was lodged with the clerk so late that it's impossible to deal with it properly. But I want the House to come to order because this is a serious issue. And but the standing orders do have to be complied with. At the time I had to make a ruling on it, the minister did not have a copy of the urgent question, and so the standing order hadn't been complied with, and I can't overturn the standing orders, but I want the House to treat this matter seriously. That I cannot depart from standing orders. I've given tried to make every opportunity for a matter of public interest to be dealt with. But the standing orders are the standing orders, and that is the end of the matter. I've made it very clear it's the end of the matter. There can be no further point of order on this matter. So it's got to be a different matter.
Well, it is on this matter, but it's a different aspect of it.
Order. Because the Honourable Rick Parker normally has something worth hearing, I'll hear the matter. How's that?
Mr. Speaker, the situation is not too dissimilar from when ministers walk from the beehive across to this House. Members of the gallery do not give prior written notice to ministers of issues they wish to doorstop them on. Let's be frank about that. They turn up as they come by, and ministers are expected to answer the question when they're there. I accept...
Order.
They don't give them notice when they turn up. All the ministers on there understand that. When they walk across, they are prepared to answer any question. And I accept your point that the standing order is prohibited in that regard, but could I, Mr. Speaker, seek leave for the Honourable Trevor Mallard to be able to ask one further question to the Associate Minister of Immigration?
Leave is sought for that course of action. Is there any objection? Did members hear what the leave... There is objection to that course of action. Order. Now, the Honourable Annette King will get to her feet and withdraw and apologise for that
apologise,
interjection.
Mr Speaker.
I thank the member. And that brings... point of order, is it the Honourable Kate Wilkinson?
Point of order. Just speaking to that point of order, and because it is a matter of public interest and very serious, can I...
Order. I don't understand what point of order can be raised here, because that matter's been dealt... Order.
Can I seek leave, sir?
The member can seek leave indeed.
To clarify the situation and attempt to answer the question.
Order. If the minister wishes to make a ministerial statement, that is debatable. If there is no personal explanation that I can be aware of that the minister can use here, and so the matter has been dealt with. The matter has been dealt with. I sought to enable an urgent question to be asked. It was pointed out to me that was inconsistent with the standing orders. I totally accept that. It was inconsistent with the standing orders. I have to rule in that favour. I sought leave on the recommendation of the opposition. Leave was not granted, and that is the end of that matter. Well, I've said that is the end of the matter. Order. Well, I'll hear. I want to understand what the point of order is.
Well, the point of order is to make it clear to the House that the opposition, the Labour opposition, will not object if the minister asks.
No. Order. This is not a point of order. No. Order. I'm on my feet. No. We can't. Members have pointed out to me that the standing order did not provide for this urgent question to be asked, and I've ruled consistent with the standing orders, and that's the end of the matter. That's the end of the matter, and the House must now move on. Question time is a time for questions to be asked, and the member was quite at liberty to lodge an urgent question, and I felt there was some merit in the question that he lodged, but the standing orders precluded my dealing with it today. That brings to a close questions for oral answer. I call on Government Order of the Day number 1.